Government-to-government oil deal says it is open and above board.
Only 12.4% is left for over 36 tribes.
And 10 communities dominate workspace in the counties, with one community taking the lead. Well, good evening on this 17th day of November 2023. My name is Eric Munene. Our sign language interpreter at the bottom end of your screen is Catherine Simaloi. We begin. The number of Kenyans that have been displaced due to floods is steadily rising, particularly in counties along the coast and in the northern and eastern regions, as the most severe impacts are being felt in these areas. Concerns are growing about the potential outbreak of waterborne diseases exacerbated by the destruction and obstruction of roads leading to hospitals in certain parts of the country. Here is our reporter, Elizabeth Ateno, to kickstart this bulletin tonight.
This is the situation in Kwabulo, Bamburi, Kiembeni, Kadzandani, Junda and Timbwani areas in Mombasa County. Water everywhere. Houses submerged and residents drown in fear as they try to cross the flooded roads. Those who need help crossing are required to part with at least 100 Kenya shilling. The iconic Nyali Bridge is now impassable, disrupting transport operations. This blue public bus ferrying passengers is stuck as it tried to wade through the flash floods.
Na basi pia lilikuwa limesimama pale, limekwama na basi lilikuwa na watu ndani. So pia sisi kama vijana pia tukajumuika, tukasaidia wale watu pale, tukawatoa na kitu kidogo.
Siwezi pita kwa hii maji kwa sababu hiyo pesa wenye wanavukisha watu wanahitaji sina. Na niko na kama stages 3 za kuvuka ndo nifike nyumbani na kila stage ni 100.
Mpaka jana zile households ama nyumba ambazo tumeweka katika data yetu zilikuwa ni 104.
At Limush village in Lamu County, more than 300 families have been marooned after the village was completely cut off following the ongoing heavy rains. Over 30 houses have been submerged, making it impossible for residents to access essential facilities such as markets, shops and hospitals.
Nyumba yetu yote inatoboka. Sisi haki ya Mungu iko shida nyingi, iko njaa, mguu yote inauma. Tafadhali nataka kusaidia.
The Kenya Red Cross Society has stepped in to register affected families and initiate relocation efforts to provide much needed assistance.
Tutakachofanya sisi kama shirika la Msalaba Mwekundu, tumewasiliana na county government ya Lamu na kufikia kesho ama Jumamosi, tukiwa tumechelewa zaidi, tuweze kufanya medical outreaches kwa sababu tumepata mama mjamzito hapa ndani amejifungua na watoto wengine pia hawako katika hali nzuri ya kiafya.
The situation in Bandi village, Tana Delta, is dire, prompting a mass exodus. Locals are forced to carry their household belongings and food supplies, walking approximately 5 kilometers to reach the Garsen-Lamu highway, where they hope to receive aid.
Sasa maji ni nyingi, iko na mtoto, iko na mizigo, wengine hana pesa.
In response to the escalating crisis, Governor Natif Jama of Garissa County has urgently requested for helicopters from the national government. The aim is to facilitate the airlifting of essential supplies, including food, mosquito nets and medicines, to the 6,000 affected households in Ijara, Fafi and Lagdera sub-counties.
Almost 800 families have been affected. Only in this village of ADC.
The Kenya Red Cross reports on grim statistics due to the ongoing heavy rains, with at least 50 fatalities, over 78,000 households displaced, and more than 11,000 livestock lost. The situation demands immediate attention and coordinated efforts to mitigate further loss of life and provide essential support to affected communities. Elizabeth Atieno, TV47.
Now, tonight, President William Ruto has defended the government-to-government oil deal, terming it as open, transparent and innovative, and one that has saved the country from sliding into a debt crisis. The president, while responding to Azimio leader Raila Odinga that the G2G deal was a scam and meant to shield 3 Kenyan companies from paying corporate tax, said the government was not a broker but a guarantor in what he said was private sector-driven process. Apollo Kamau with that.
President William Ruto has broken his silence in the opposition's disputed government-to-government oil deal, terming it as open and above board, saying the process was necessary to save the country from sliding into a crisis.
I can confirm to the country that the G2G petroleum products engagement with our international oil companies is above board, is transparent, is innovative, and it has made the biggest difference in our country.
The president firing back at Azimio leader Raila Odinga, telling him to stop what he termed as a fishing expedition for scandal in his administration.
The fishing they are doing for a scandal in this administration, they are not about to succeed. They can speculate, imagine, dream about a scam. That is how far they can go. I am very clear in my mind, and I want to tell the country, we will make sure that we do the right thing for Kenya.
Odinga had claimed the government was shielding 3 Kenyan companies from paying 30% corporate tax in the deal, claims the president dismissed, saying the government is not a broker in the deal.
The purpose of government in that agreement, in that MOU, is not so that we sell oil products. The only purpose of government is twofold. Number one, to guarantee international oil companies that they can extend product to Kenya for 6 months, and that after 6 months, we're going to pay. And we have kept our part of the bargain.
Despite the president's defense on the oil deal, Odinga, during an ODM extra parliamentary group meeting, challenged the president to disclose the MOU signed between Kenya, UAE and Saudi Arabia, corporate tax payments by the contracted oil firms, supplier purchase agreements, and how EPRA boss Daniel Kiptoo ended as a negotiator and referee on the price purchase and sale of oil.
And I challenged the government to contradict what I'd said. I think, the matter was directed at the executive, not at the legislature. So it is not work of Mr. Chungwa to respond. I directed it to
I want to challenge the speculators and the agents of the cartels to go and speak to the oil marketing companies in Kenya, to go and speak to the players in Kenya, instead of the speculation, rumor mongering, scamming that is going on.
The disputed oil companies, according to Odinga, had been nominated to handle logistics, but were selling oil to oil marketing companies in Kenya, double the price they were buying from bulk suppliers, claims the president has dismissed. Apollo Kamau, TV47.
Well, thank you, Apollo Kamau, for that. Now, as Kenya strives for national unity and inclusivity, the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, NCIC, has revealed that there is a significant concentration of workforce representation among only 10 tribes in the country. According to a report by NCIC, more than 80% of employment is dominated by the Kalenjin tribe, followed closely by the Kikuyu, Luhya and Luo communities. The report has shed light on the stark contrast in employment opportunities, with the aforementioned 4 tribes taking the lead, while 29 other tribes collectively make up a mere 1% of the decentralized workforce. Here's Sheila Chelangat with the details.
Today, the National Cohesion and Integration Commission released a comprehensive report shedding light on the composition of workforce in county public services. The findings reveal that there are a total of 184,000 workers in counties, with women constituting 56% and men 47%. Notably, Nairobi County boasts the highest number of employees, exceeding 13,000. It is closely followed by Kakamega, Bungoma, Kisii, Machakos and Nakuru, all of which recorded substantial figures.
2 billion just in one county per month, that is per month, to pay 13,000 employees. So if there's no equity or inclusivity in our counties, that money, which is a lot, of course, can be a source of conflict, and by constitution, of course, is not being used properly.
Despite these numbers, the Commission expressed concern over the dominance of employment opportunities by 10 specific tribes in the country. The Kalenjin ethnic community leads with 15.45% of the total employees, followed closely by the Kikuyu tribe at 15.40%. The Luhya community accounts for 13%, while the Luo community takes up 9.15%. Alarmingly, this leaves only 1% of employment opportunities for the 29 minority communities. The report indicates a regression in ethnic distribution within Bomet County Public Service, where 97% of employees are from the Kalenjin community. Elgeyo Marakwet County is also under scrutiny, with 96% of its workforce hailing from a single community. Other underperforming counties in achieving compliance include Vihiga, Nandi, Nyandarua, Nyamira, Homa Bay, Kisii, Mandera and Kericho.
It is not acceptable for governors and the other county officials to contravene law with impunity.
However, amidst these concerns, some counties stand out for their commitment to ethnic diversity in employment. Marsabit County leads the country in compliance, with only 33% of employees originating from local communities. Other exemplary counties include Lamu, Tana River, Nairobi, Mombasa, Isiolo, Nakuru, Trans Nzoia, Busia, Embu and Taita Taveta. Unfortunately, Garissa County stands out as the sole county that failed to comply with the Commission's request to provide data on the ethnic distribution in its workforce. This report underscores the need for increased efforts to ensure equitable opportunities for all communities in the country's public service, fostering inclusivity and national cohesion. Sheila Chelangat for TV47.
Now, do you recall the name Samuel Chacha from Kuria region in Migori County? In case it doesn't ring a bell, let me refresh your memory. He is the individual whom the president, that is William Ruto, called on the eve of the State of the Nation address to discuss specific matters related to subsidized fertilizer. TV47 recently caught up with him at his residence, where he shared his experience of the nearly 8-minute phone conversation with the president. Grace Koryakanja with the details.
It's not every day you get to speak to the first in command.
Samuel.
Even rarer is it when he picks up the phone and dials you himself.
My birthday is on the 20th.
Hello? Hello?
Yes.
Mimi naitwa William Ruto, naomba kuongea na Samuel Chacha.
Yes, ni mimi.
Samuel, habari?
Mzuri sana ndugu yangu.
Mimi nilifurahia mpaka saa hii. Hata sijaenda kwa shamba, mimi naenda kwa shamba tu kutembea, nasikia vile roho yangu bado inaelekea, kwa sababu ni kama vile hata Yesu anaweza kuja sehemu ashuke huku hata umguze mkono. Yaani ni kama nilimguza mkono, na naomba nimguze mkono siku moja Mungu akipenda. Hapo ilikuwa mbali.
In the unexpected conversation, Chacha, now a local celebrity in Dimaru village, vividly recalls the details of the call, down to the exact time it happened.
Saa moja kasorobo hivi. Yes, ndio ilikuwa iko kwa kichwa, siwezi sahau na sitasahau kwa maisha yangu hiyo tarehe. Hata kama ukiniuliza usiku nitakwambia.
Now, you know we Kenyans with our love for kitu kidogo.
Simu simama kupokea. Ninaulizwa maswali. Ninaambiwa mbona hukumwambia hata kwamba vitu vimeenda juu. Hukuambia mambo kwamba maofisa wa polisi wanatunyanyeza. Hiyo singelimwambia kwa sababu sikuwa nimechipanga. Wengine wanasema uliachia kitu kizuri, sasa hivi at least kama ni familia unaweza sasa rekebisha, sasa wewe una sasa wanasema mimi sina shida.
Ruto responded with a generous offer of 500 units of something unspecified, expressing his satisfaction with the call. Chacha, in his discussion with the president, did not forget his fellow farmers. He used the opportunity to advocate for a further reduction in the price of subsidized fertilizer.
Ati 500 tutoe.
Amidst laughter, Chacha could not believe his luck. It was truly a dream come true.
President aliponiambia kwamba ni yeye, sikuamini.
Sikujua nilikuwa naongea na mwenzangu wa maana.
Si nimekwambia.
Rudia please.
Mimi naitwa William Ruto.
Hiyo nilisikia. Sasa unataka kusema gani?
Huyo tu ambaye ulimchagua.
President.
Grace Kuriakanja, TV47.
Oh, quite interesting. Now, police in Ruiru, Kiambu County have arrested a police officer following a botched robbery attempt. The robbery was thwarted by members of the public after the suspect, who is alleged to be a Reke squad officer based at JSU camp in Juja, is said to have robbed 54,000 shillings from an M-Pesa shop before an alarm was raised, forcing him to run for safety. Now, according to Ruiru Sub-County Police Commander Alex Shikondi, a man had gone to deposit 200,000 shillings at an M-Pesa shop, which he had withdrawn from a local bank, only for him to be followed by an armed man who ordered him and the M-Pesa attendant to surrender the money. The M-Pesa attendant, who had already received the deposit, was holding 54,000 shillings, which he was forced to surrender to the suspect, who immediately ran out of the shop. After he left, the attendant raised an alarm and members of the public came to her rescue.
Ilifanyika kwamba huyu suspect mwenye pesa aliwithdraw pesa kutoka kwa Kenya Commercial Bank, akawa anapeleka kwa M-Pesa agent. Wakati anapopeleka kwa agent, akafatwa na huyu suspect. Bahati mzuri mwenye M-Pesa alipiga mayoyo, wakati tayari huyu mshukiwa alikuwa ametoa bunduki na akawa amepatiwa pesa yenye agent alikuwa nayo. Polisi walitokezea, wale walikuwa patrol, na wakaweza wakamkamata huyu mshukiwa ambaye alikuwa anakimbia na akawa amepiga hata risasi moja juu. Alipata kushikwa na tukarecover shilingi 54,100 na bunduki aina ya pistol. Kwa saizi yuko na sisi, ako na DCIO. Kesi ndio imeanza tu, inaendelea uchunguzi, lakini tunaweza sema kwamba ni ushirikiano mzuri na wananchi wa Ruiru.
Kwa ile umati ya wale watu, mbele kulikuwa na mtu mmoja alikuwa ameng'ara vizuri, mzee mwenye heshima, amevaa, ako na suti, amevaa tai, akakuja mbio. Akakuja akielekea upande ya Equity. Sasa wale askari walikuwa hapo nje ndio wakashika yeye. Wale watu wakawa wamefika. Wakauliza nini ati mwizi. Watu walikuwa wanamfuata? Watu walikuwa wanamfuata kutoka nyuma. Wakisema mwizi. Kuona ni yule mzee ndiye ameshikwa, tukashindwa, haya mzee, kwani huyo jamaa mwenye wanasema mwizi ndiye ako na suti pale. Sasa kwa ile harakati kidogo tukasikia mawe. Mawe inapigwa huko kwa madirisha. Kwa dirisha ya bank. Wale askari walijaribu kuwazuia, lakini hawangeweza juu mawe ilikuwa inakuja na saidi zote. Hata kwanza mwanzo tulifikiria ni risasi, lakini wakati tuliona ni mawe, kila mtu ilibidi alale tu chini.
Now, the education sector continues to grapple with a multitude of challenges, notably students expressing dissatisfaction regarding the delayed disbursement of HELB loans and the new education funding model. Concurrently, the government maintains its stance that it is diligently taking measures to enhance the sector. Our reporter Kisewa Emory analyzes the divergent opinions surrounding the new funding model in the higher education system.
Collectively, this year, we have added to the Ministry of Education an extra 78 billion from last year's budget.
Speaking during the inaugural National Defence University graduation ceremony held today, President William Ruto highlighted the government's commitment to enhancing education. He revealed a significant budget increase of 46 billion to improve educational facilities for students in both technical and vocational education and training institutions and universities.
Enhance the capitation, loans, and other facilities for our TVET students. And it is the reason why, again, this year, we have enhanced the budget for our higher education by an extra 46 billion.
However, amidst the president's commendation of the government's strides in higher education, student leaders from universities in Kiambu County are urging immediate action to release capitation and higher education loans board funds. They argue that this is crucial to prevent the educational sector from facing a total collapse.
In the TVET institutions, Mr. President, we would like to urge you to give the comrades the capitation.
Led by SK Kajwang, the student leaders expressed dissatisfaction with the government's handling of issues affecting ordinary citizens, particularly university students grappling with uncertainty due to delays in the disbursement of government capitation and HELB loans.
It is not fair for any proposal to increase fee and even the delayment in HELB disbursement, because it is really disturbing and perturbing our minds and spirits as the comrades of Kenya.
Contrary to the concerns raised by student leaders, last week, Cabinet Secretary for Education Ezekiel Machogu stated that HELB funds had already been dispersed. In a related development, Kenyans have been urged to support the government's new university and college funding model rather than rushing to criticize it.
I think it's something that the government has thought through carefully. I think maybe a lot of people have not understood the model to be able to appreciate it, but I think the government is on the right track. And I think if the parents and students can take time to read and to understand it.
This call for support comes amid ongoing debates about the effectiveness and the impact of the new funding approach. Kisewa Emory, TV47.
Thanks for that, Emory. Now, Kenya today joined the world in marking Prematurity Day for babies who were born preterm, with this year's theme being small actions, big impact, immediate skin-to-skin care for every baby. This day raises awareness for the challenges of preterm birth. In Kenya, 193,000 babies are born premature each year, and 13,300 children under the age of 5 die due to direct preterm complications. Nelly Lusigi with the details.
This day serves as a global platform to raise awareness about challenges associated with preterm birth and to celebrate the lives of preterm interns and their families across the world. Preterm birth remains the leading cause of death among children under the age of 5, with approximately 15 million babies worldwide being born preterm each year, accounting for about 1 in 10 children.
Haya, kuna mnyama anaitwa kangaroo. Anakuanga na mfuko hapa. Huwa anaweka mtoto wake hapa. Haya, ndio hiyo sasa na sisi tunaichukua. Inaitwa skin to skin contact ya mtoto na mama. Hiyo inasaidia mtoto kugrow kama tu ni kama ako kwa uterus.
In Kenya, staggering 193,000 babies are born prematurely annually, resulting 13,300 under 5 deaths due to direct preterm complications. Under the theme Small Actions, Big Impact, Laikipia County joined the global initiative commemorating the day at Nyahururu Sub-County Referral Hospital. The focal message emphasized the significance of skin-to-skin mother care, urging the community to collectively take responsibility for the well-being of prematurely born infants. Dr. Pauline Wamboi, a practitioner at Nyahururu County Referral, highlighted the challenges faced by preterm babies, including breathing difficulties and feeding issues arising from immaturity of their organs.
And some of the challenges hawa watoto wakizaliwa mapema wanakuwa nazo ni kukua kwamba hawezi kufeed kama watoto wengine, kwa hivyo hawezi nyonya kama watoto wengine. Inabidi wamama mama zao wakamue maziwa ndio waweze kuwapatia maziwa kwa kikombe, na sometimes hata wakikuwa wadogo sana wanaanza na tubes ambazo tunaita nasogastric tubes. Hiyo ni challenge moja kwamba hawa mama by the time wapeane maziwa mpaka wanakaa hospitali sana kwa miezi kadhaa ndio mtoto apate kufikisha kilo za kwenda nyumbani.
Parents of preterm babies share their personal challenges, recounting difficulties faced from family, community and friends upon having a preterm baby. She emphasized the need for societal acceptance and understanding.
Mtoto kugrow na pia mna board na mtoto vizuri sana juu mtoto anakuja.
Government's commitment to the welfare of preterm babies was underscored with initiatives such as equipping public hospitals with incubators, the Linda Mama program providing medical and counseling support to the affected families and local awareness campaigns. Eli Lusigi, TV47.
Let's get sporty. Kenya under-20 national team Rising Starlets have been bundled out of the 2024 FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup qualifiers after a 2-6 aggregate loss to Cameroon. Rising Starlets' efforts to overturn the first leg 3-0 loss against Cameroon fell inside 24 minutes of play after Cameroon's captain Naomi Leslie breached Kenyan's defense and secured a goal. Starlets found an opener inside the second half through Charity Midewa's strike as Naomi Leslie made it hard for Kenyans after adding the second and third goal for Cameroon, while Midewa completed her brace despite being on the losing end.
Kwetu naweza sema tactically opponent amekuwa juu. Uoga kidogo tulifikiria kufikia leo pengine wachezaji watakuwa wameondoa uoga, lakini bado ongeza iona. Yeah, I'm very happy that they were able to score. It really shows that they have the ability to play, they have the ability to compete, and that was also seen when they played against Angola. What I will say is that sometimes maybe some players don't give you much during training, but then if they're given much, you see.
Now, Safari Sevens rugby tournament is set to be an exciting contest with all teams gunning for the top prize as the tournament kicks off tomorrow morning at the Kenya Rugby Football Union grounds along Ngong Road. Kenya Rugby Sevens National Shujaa are in Pool A alongside Red Whalers, Uganda, South Africa, Ulsters and the Tropic Sevens men's team. Germany will headline Pool B, which features Morans, Samurai, KCB and Western Province Select. Kenya Lionesses will feature in the women's competition alongside Uganda, Took Sevens, Cubs and Tropic Sevens ladies team.
It's a team that we've put together, a good mix of youth and experience. We like to play it quick. We have a lot of speed. Yeah, we're fit. And so I think we're definitely going to make an impact on the tournament.
It's a tough tournament, tough pool that we are in. Ranging from the All-Stars, Kenya Shujaa, the Whalers, the Tropics. So it's going to be a challenging tournament for us. And hopefully we'll get right results at the end of the day.
It's our first time in Kenya. I think some people have been before, but for most of us, it's the first time. So it's been really fun just to see what's around here, the wildlife. It's been really cool. Expectations, I think we're expecting it to be physical. It's going to be good, hard rugby. I think the ground's a bit soft, which I don't think we were expecting. But so it might be a bit slippy. But yeah, really excited for it.
Same mindset of wanting to have really rich rugby experiences, come play a bloody good brand of rugby, and integrate with the place we go to. And
Now, Kenya Pipeline have moved closer to clinching their maiden African Zone 5 Volleyball Club Championship title after defeating.
The news that matters the most is the one that hits close to home. When disasters strike, we are there to inform you. When the bullets are flying, we tell you who's shooting and why. Reporting on your victories, your health, your money, your security, your past, present and future. We are interested in telling the stories of creativity, hard work, and resilience that you are known for. That is our job. This is my job. My name is Victor Moyakane, and it's my honor to bring you this news this way every Thursday night on the home of Untold Stories.
Katika majengo haya, hapa ndipo sheria zinapotungwa na zinapopakuliwa. Nitakuletea viongozi mbalimbali, mirengo mbalimbali, wote kwa pamoja wakipika na kupakua. Tutawapa nafasi kuweza kuangazia changamoto na mafanikio ya ugatuzi katika ukumbi wa siasa kila siku ya Jumanne kuanzia saa 1 kamili na kuendelea.
Toka eneo hili la Naivasha kwenye kaunti 032, gatuzi la Nakuru.
Kutoka kaunti ya Elgeyo Marakwet, kaunti 028.
Nikiripotia runinga ya TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Wajir.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Turukana.
Kwa matukio yote yanayojiri katika kaunti hii 012.
Kutoka kaunti nambari 1, kaunti ya Mombasa.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Lamu.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka Kisii County.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Machakos.
Kutoka kaunti hii ya Trans Nzoia.
Kaunti 038.
Kutoka gatuzi nambari 029, kaunti ya Nandi, chemichemi ya mabingwa.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Kakamega.
Itakuwa nikiripotia runinga ya TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Bungoma.
Jina langu ni Paula Munio. Willy Dennis Jiru.
Fabian Kibet.
Mimi ni Hashim Jimal.
Mimi ni Kitio Mika Masai.
John Javakiania.
Jina langu ni Abdulaziz Nameka.
Mimi ni Kombo Alfayo.
Jina langu ni Nicholas Mbai.
Isaac Famba.
Mimi ni Wanji Sosti.
Jina langu ni Arnold Adidi. Jina langu ni Chris Bet.
Jina langu ni Violet Auma.
Na TV47 inapotamba, mimi Sheila Chelangat nitakuwa nikiripotia maswala yanayokuhusu wewe kila kuchao. Every Thursday 7:30 p.m. unapata nafasi kufahamu viongozi mbalimbali kutoka humu nchini, kuanzia wabunge.
Through Changa we could get money to pay our rent, pay our bills.
When I was growing up, water was a problem where I was born and bred. We wake up at 3 to go and look for water.
Magavana
must be ready to be a tough woman and not a woman to be walked over.
Kwa hivyo
but you respect people.
Dari ya mfahamu kiongozi, story na historia, na mi Elizabeth Mutuku.
Kwa mirindimo kemkem ya michezo, mahojiano ya kipekee na mabingwa wetu, makala ya kuvutia pamoja na matukio mubashara viwanjani. Shabiki, tutapiga mbizi katika kila kiwanja, ndani na hata nje ya nchi. Mtazamaji, uko tayari? Ni kazi michezoni ama michezo kazini? Ungana nami Ahmed Bahaj, sajili mpya nimefika katika kipindi cha kipekee Mchaka Mchaka. Zitatoka cheche, tutapiga mstari chini yake. Si bora michezo, ni michezo kwa ubora wake. Mcheche.
They say money makes the world go round. So let's slow things down a bit. Put things in perspective. From the markets to the streets to the stocks
we make the complex comprehensible. Join me, Hibak Said, on TV47 Business News for market insights like never before.
What's making the headlines? What does it mean to you? How does it affect you? We answer all these questions every Sunday for half an hour on To The Point Show. Hey, I'm Grace Kuriakanja, and a lot has happened this week. Let's dive into it.
Wanasema wasemao kuwa elimu ni bahari haishi kwa kuchotwa. Wakati mwingi natangamana na wanafunzi madarasani, sio kama mwalimu bali kama nahodha kwenye kipindi cha tasnia ya elimu. Na iwapo utanikosa madarasani, basi utanipata nyanjani nikisaka habari zenye usawa, ufasaha na ukweli. Na iwapo utanikosa nyanjani, bila shaka utanipata studioni hapa nikisoma habari na kuendesha mijadala mikomavu. Mimi ni Andrin Kilemi, mpenzi wa lugha ya Kiswahili na elimu kwa jumla.
Well, if it is happening, then we are definitely talking about it on TV47's Disruptive Friday. Don't miss a moment on the most technological and disruptive moment on TV.
From groundbreaking AI breakthroughs to the latest ingenious innovations, we have it all covered for you. Get ready to see the future unfold right in front of your eyes. My name is Eric Munene.
And my name is Linda Alala, and we not promise nothing short of great news experience.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. We begin starting today. Kenyans utilizing mobile money for tax payments are required exclusively to utilize the official government pay bill as declared by the Kenya Revenue Authority. Now, President William Ruto had previously mandated the shutdown of all non-designated government pay bill numbers in June, emphasizing the transition to a unified payment platform. All ministries were directed to shift to the newly designated pay bill number, that is 22222. The president said that the move is intended to establish an e-citizen, or rather the e-citizen platform, as the primary digital payments platform with a singular pay bill number, that is 22222, serving as the exclusive payment platforms. In recent days, Telegram users in Kenya have encountered intermittent service disruptions with periods of impaired message sending and receiving functionality. Notably, the disruptions occur at specific times throughout the day, persisting for an extended duration. Interestingly, the sole workaround identified is the utilization of a virtual private network, that is VPN, set to a different geographical location, hinting at a potential region-specific issue. The onset of the service interruptions coincides with a recent controversial event, the alleged leaking of ongoing Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education examinations through Telegram channels. An internet service provider that notes disruptions, that is Down Detector, did not register any significant outage on the Telegram platform during that specific period. Down Detector typically reports incidents when the volume of problem reports significantly exceeds the usual volume for that particular time of day. in a proactive measure aimed at addressing the persistent threat of malaria, the Ministry of Health is pleased to announce the initiation of the National Long-Lasting Insecticidal Treated Nets, or LLINs, or LINs if you may, distribution campaign set to kick off on November 15th this year. The campaign goes beyond mere distribution, symbolizing an unwavering dedication to combating malaria and marking a significant stride towards achieving universal coverage with nets, thereby making a substantial impact in Kenya's ongoing fight against malaria. The campaign will leverage innovative tools and technologies to ensure the efficient execution of the distribution process, ensuring that LINs reach every household in need. PowerHive, a pioneer in the electric mobility sector, has announced a strategic collaboration with Mobius Motors, a vehicle manufacturing partner based in the country. The partnership marks a significant milestone in PowerHive's ongoing efforts to advance the sustainable mobility landscape in the region. At the core of the collaboration is the establishment of a dedicated bonded warehouse within the Mobius Motors facility. The facility is designed exclusively for the assembly of PowerHive's Spark electric motorcycles, with the capacity to produce up to 150 Spark bikes per factory shift. Well, time now for the big conversation. In studio with me, of course, I have a fintech expert, David Olilo, who will be telling us more about the future of transactions in the country. Now, financial technology or fintech startups in sub-Saharan Africa are defying challenges, with more than half of Africans unbanked or even underbanked. Now, there's an opportunity for fintech to digitize payments. The African electronic payments market is set to grow by 20% annually, reaching 40 billion USD or 6 trillion Kenya shillings by 2025, outpacing the global industry's 7% growth. Progress varies across countries, with Kenya leading the fintech charge. Factors driving growth include rising smartphone ownership, lower internet costs, increased bandwidth, urbanization, and a growing youth demographic. David Olilo, as I mentioned, is a fintech expert and joins us for a discussion on the future of transactions. David, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Can I call you David of all trades? Because you have quite a journey. You've done all these things. You've been in the tech startup scene, and now you're the Chief Operations Officer at Eat Out Kenya, I have to mention.
Yeah.
You're also a pioneer, or rather someone who's very, very experienced on matters fintech. So tell us your journey, how you started and how you found yourself in this fintech space.
Thank you again for having me. So my journey started in 2014, back in campus. I was studying Bachelor's of Commerce at University of Nairobi. And during that time is when also platforms or e-commerce platforms like Jumia were booming. And I got intrigued with that because at that time, our lecturer gave us an assignment to do a dummy e-commerce platform or an assignment. Yeah. And at that time, I remember in our class, from the assignment that I did, it emerged number one. Mm-hmm. And my classmates were approaching me to ask me how I did it and if I could teach them how to do something similar. And at that time, some of them were willing to extend a token for the help. And something based on that triggered an idea. Why don't I get to understand more about e-commerce and the internet? So I used to find myself skipping some lessons, going to the computer lab, just teaching myself, the internet, doing business online. And at that time, in 2014, I started one startup called Place Express. So Place Express basically was a platform that was giving people information about businesses online. Okay. And with that experience, going out, trying to talk to businesses to sign up, I just felt like that's where I belonged. And I didn't mention, in campus I was studying finance. Okay. So immediately after going out and talking to people, getting that challenge and having that experience, I just saw I want to combine my finance knowledge with what I was learning online to still go on and pursue this even after campus. So tracking down up to where I'm right now, I've founded 6 startups.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, exited 2 in sales and the others have failed, but you learn. So based on that, that's where I found myself now in Fintech and also at Eat Out. So at Eat Out, I've been there for 3 years, and I took over the role at the time of COVID. And we've just scaled it from, like the COVID times, because Eat Out is in the industry of food and drink, which is restaurants. And you understand, during COVID, this industry was very affected. So when I joined, things were not good, but after the lockdowns and the restaurants reopened, we just took up like the challenge to get the business back.
How many of the 6 startups that you founded were fintech in nature?
So 2 are in fintech, actually the ones that succeeded. And this is just coming out of the learnings of what the consumers want. Once you get to understand really consumers' preferences and what they're looking for, because right now, preferences have moved to convenience. And if you look at what fintech is solving, because fintech is just putting technology to deliver and use the technology in delivering finance services. And this is targeted to what people actually want. People want to pay, people want to send money, people want to transact. So so one was called Moot, and basically Moot was a platform whereby everywhere you go and shop and pay, you earn some loyalty points, and you get to convert these points to M-Pesa cash. So it is something that was very successful, yeah.
Well, David, people want to transact. Like you're saying, people want to get paid, to pay, and all that. In Africa, there are a lot of areas that can be disrupted. We're talking about healthcare, we're talking about transport, e-mobility, for instance, we're talking about ed tech. How comes, when it comes to Africa, a lot of founders are really interested in getting to the fintech space? I have to ask that.
That's a good question. You need to understand where we are as Africa. If you look at countries like that are in Europe or Asia, these are countries that advanced a long time ago when it came to payments. But once you come to understand where we are as Africa, we are catching up. Okay. For example, in Asia and Europe, card payments are dominant. But if you look at Africa, we are not going that route. For us, we've gone the route of mobile payments. And in figures, in the entire continent, Africa is leading with over 40% of mobile money transactions. Okay. But in Europe, more transactions are on card-based. So if you look at why mobile money is dominant in Africa, you get to really understand it's solving the challenges that we have as Africans. And this is because of, fragmented infrastructure. For example, people in Turkana, there are certain infrastructure they don't have. For example, they don't have internet. And even before I dig deep into it, look at COVID. When COVID came, we got restrictions like you have to do your payments with mobile money. We have to move from cash. And so we're also moving to a cashless economy. And that's why even platforms like M-Pesa have really succeeded, because they bring the ease and convenience, and they're also affordable irrespective of your income. So Africa, we are solving our own challenges. And right now, if you look at the industry, startups are coming up. And these are startups that are really disrupting the challenges that we have. And that's why even investors right now are focusing more on fintech, because they are solving the challenges of Africa. Yeah.
And don't you think by investors focusing more on fintech, we have some rogue founders who might take advantage of that and squander investors' money? We're talking about, I'm talking about the short lifespan of some fintech companies, some even in the country, who've had run-ins with authorities. Just the other day, the Assets Recovery Authority had a very big case with one that I won't mention. But what can be done in that space to ensure that it is streamlined and we get rid of the rogue elements, from your perspective?
Yeah, sure. As I mentioned, we are catching up with this technology. And so with this, there are certain things also we are learning. I do acknowledge that there are some founders who may go rogue, even when it comes to raising money. But again, it goes down to really what is their vision. Because at the end of the day, if this is a founder who their vision is solving a problem that they've seen in Africa, then that goes down to even the principles of, like them operating. In most cases, you'll find some of these founders don't have the background of running businesses. So, when it comes to that point where, they get attention and they have interest, then they don't really get to see the bigger picture. I'll give you an example. Today I was watching a documentary of the founder who started Flutterwave and Andela. If you look at his story, this is somebody who, from where he's coming from, the town, this is an area where the economic level is very, very poor, even in terms of like infrastructure, the roads and everything. And this is Lagos. And so what he did, because he realized that close to the University of Lagos, there was a lot of young people who had the push and the drive to really make a change, not in terms of, like enriching themselves, but a change to get out of where they are. And he started Andela. He started giving knowledge to, like the young guys. If it was like giving them the resources, things like computers to do learnings. And it blew up because more people were even getting the knowledge to work in different companies, like even going abroad to work in abroad companies and coming back to bring that knowledge and experience to enrich their community. So it just goes down to what's somebody's vision. And if you look at right now, especially in Kenya, there's a lot of support that is coming in because we have accelerators, we have incubators, we have investors who are focusing on Nairobi. Actually, if I can quote one investor, Vusi Tembakwayo, if you look at one of his from South Africa, if you look at one of his interviews, he actually said he loves founders from Kenya because these are guys who really understand what they want and they go down to really give it the effort to achieve it. Yeah.
Well, as we appreciate what founders are doing to solve some of the unique problems that we face in the African context, you founded 2 fintech startups.
Yeah.
And I can assure you that right now, probably someone is watching this show and they're thinking of how they're going to come up with another startup. In as much as we appreciate that, one would argue that what we are facing right now in Africa is not really disruption, it's a fintech eruption.
Yeah.
Don't you think we might create some sort of bubble and then get to the point where the center no longer holds and the whole system crumbles?
I see where you're coming from, but I don't think so. There's a lot of opportunities. Actually, right now, how we are looking at it is when it comes to fintech and payments, we are just 1%. So there's a very, very huge opportunity in this space. And if you look at fintech, it's also very broad. We have payments, we have, startups that are doing things like buy now, pay later. We have startups that are focusing on things like lending. We have startups that are focusing on things like insurance. So it's very, very broad. And at the same time, that's where actually we should be focusing on, because if you look at Silicon Valley, it's a hub of many startups, and they didn't get there because of, of a bubble or anything.
Yeah.
Competition is good, and that's how we grow, because these opportunities at the end of the day create jobs, also create improvement of the economy. So I'd say, let's see where this is going. We have big companies like Visa, who has come to set up a hub in Kenya, in Nairobi. Actually, the hub is in Nairobi. Yeah. I had a chance to go visit them, and they have amazing innovations that they're looking to co-create with startups in this region. So I'd really say that the opportunity is wide. This market is very wide. And these are startups that are coming to solve our challenges. And if we don't solve them, nobody will for us.
Let's talk about financial inclusion. And as you rightly put it, they're coming to solve our unique problems. Let's talk about financial inclusivity. In my intro, I mentioned that the fintech startups in Africa mostly want to have the underbanked or the less, or people not in the banking system come on board. How are you doing that in the African context, and what criteria do you use when you're coming up with such products to help them? Do you do research to find out if these people want solutions that use USSD, for instance, or mobile applications? And if it's applications, Android or, iPhone users,
yeah.
What is it there? Play Store?
Yeah, Play Store.
What kind of research do you do before you come up with a good product that will have everyone on board?
I'll take you back to where transactions started. And this is over 200,000 years ago, where the mode of transactions was barter trade, whereby if I have, for example, maize and you have tea, we come and trade. But if you look at how that happened and where we are, there's a lot of improvements that happened. And when COVID came, it really taught us that, hey, you know what? There's a lot of innovations that you can adopt. And if you look at also the audience, right now, we have a youthful continent. These are guys who are tech savvy, the internet has penetrated. And also moving forward, it goes down to people getting the convenience of interacting with solutions at their fingertips. And so with this, even before we went cashless, we had mobile money that all for you to transact, you only needed a SIM card. But right now, we are moving to the digital age where even the banks themselves are adopting. Actually, in a recent, I think it was the release of some financial year results of a bank, the CEO said that it is expensive to have you as a customer visiting their branch because number one, they have to get tellers, pay them a salary. But if you look at somebody sitting at home and doing their transaction from the phone, it's very, very convenient and it's cheap for that bank. And with this, I foresee in the future that banks are going to be on mobile. Some of them will even close their banking halls. So this shows you that it's about what people are seeing. And yes, there's some research that goes into this. I remember in 2020, a manager at Equity said almost over 80% of their transactions were not happening at the banking halls. They were happening on mobile money. And so with this, people want to tap into that because we have a youthful continent, and these are people who are tech savvy. And it's becoming easy with internet penetration and also smartphones being affordable. So this is something that, looking forward, we're going to be accessing your money, doing transactions on the phone because that's where we're heading to. Yeah.
David, and let's talk about regulation because as technology evolves, regulation also evolves. I'm thinking you come up with a great product that solves a particular problem, but then again, legislators sit down and come up with new regulations. For instance, right now, what regulations, regulatory challenges are you going through and how are you navigating to get to the point where you want to be?
That's a good question. So how we look at it, regulation is not a bad thing. Actually, I was interacting with a lawyer who has been looking at some of these cases. And one of the things she told me is that these regulations are not here to kill or to cause a block for innovation. They're here to actually support them because what you said, founders, there are some founders who are in this for just for money. I'll give you an example. For example, yourself. Let's say you have money in your mobile wallet, and tomorrow morning you wake up, it's not there. What are you going to do? So yeah, you understand.
I thought you were using my example as a founder. Go ahead. Yeah.
So these policies are coming to create a condition to support this innovation. Because without them, trust me, so many things will be happening. For example, fraud. Again, data. Every time you're doing a transaction, a lot of data is captured and you don't know who is handling that data. So imagine one day you're just sitting and you get so many notifications from nowhere, yet you don't know where you even gave out your data. So these policies are here to support innovation and to ensure that even these innovations that are coming up are created in a certain way that are serving you and not using you. Yeah.
Well, and finally, you have experience. You've founded two fintech startups.
Yeah.
Let's talk about young startup founders now. Guys who are probably starting their own fintech startups but are currently bootstrapping. What can you tell them if they're watching this show? What advice can you give them to raise funds?
That's a good question because it takes me back. I'll use my example from the experience I've gotten in my journey. So bootstrapping is not a bad thing. And bootstrapping actually is a good way to show investors before you approach them that even by yourself, you've gotten out to invest in this business by your own. And by bootstrapping, this also gives you the opportunity to learn, because in many cases you'd find this a first time, let's say this is a first time founder who doesn't have experience in the domain where they're getting into. So you're going out there, even if you need to get a job or do some consultancy, that money that you are getting, yes, will go into funding your idea, but at the same time, you are learning. And this also goes down to what we were saying in terms of the roadmap of a startup. It's not that, you wake up, you have this idea, then a week later, it's out there making money. There is a journey. You have to go to the market and test your idea, because you need to go to test, put the product in front of the customers that you're looking to serve. You need to put the product to the test if it's working okay. So bootstrapping is not bad, but my advice to that will be, after you bootstrap, of course, if you want to scale, because at the end of the day, you want to take your startup from point A to a higher peak, you can look out for accelerators who are willing to come in and mentor you, give an advice, and they also happy to come in as angels, because right now in Nairobi we have an association called NAIBAN, which is Nairobi Angels, who are willing to come in on a small capacity, especially given their expertise in the industry. And if they like your idea, they're happy.
Just the fintech industry, or it cuts across? It
cuts across. Okay. Yeah. So we have angels who are willing to be your first backers. They'll give you something small, probably to help you get the product market fit, as you're going out to get your first customers. And then from there, you now progress to VCs who now can come in and help you to scale. So it's a journey. It's okay. I've been there before. So it's not a bad thing to bootstrap. I'd actually encourage it, because it gives the confidence to somebody who you're approaching to give you money, because they look at it, you've already invested in this by yourself, and you understand what it takes to manage your money and how you'll manage somebody's money.
Well, thank you very much, David Olilo, for that.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, that is David Olilo, the Chief Operating Officer of Eat Out Kenya, but he was in studio in his capacity as